Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of a new book that we have coming out. This one is called Dreaming with Bees, Sacred Medicine from Beyond the Veil of Grief. Before I introduce the authors to you today, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to lead author Dasha Bond. Dasha, we wouldn't be here without you. You had a huge mission and vision for this book. And thank you so much for the energy and intention you put into this project, the beautiful author cast that you gathered to do this with you. I'm super honored and super grateful to be guiding it. So who are we going to talk to today? Christina Beebe is a tantric Bhakti, I hope I got that right, yogini, Reiki master and life coach, helping her clients find peace, clarity, and healing in their lives. Leah Benjamin, bravery with ambitious allies and deep listening. And we also have Wendy House in the house. She is a certified Reiki practitioner. Sorry, I couldn't help myself on that one. Wendy, I know it's corny, right?
I don't mind.
She is a certified Reiki practitioner and intuitive energy worker, practicing the healing arts for 20 years. She draws from direct life experiences, combining plant medicine and ritual to encompass self-reflection and empowered healing for her clients. All right. So Christina, we're going to start the party with you today. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Well, my chapter is chapter 5, and it's about breaking free from expectations and living who you truly are. My story was about my divorce because it was kind of like, that was the point where I just started to, I kind of lost so much, and that was just the breaking point. So yeah.
So had you written about your divorce before?
I think I haven't. No, I did. I did once because I've also written my autobiography called Moon Thunder. So I did write about it in there. But this is the first time writing like more deeply from like a healing perspective.
Yeah, I asked because I've written about that before myself, and I wondered, how easy or hard was that for you? And of course, I think you would agree that there were healing moments in your ability to share that piece of your story. Yeah, what do you want people to know about that?
It was hard. And even just like every time reading through it to like proofread and revise, like I did cry through it each time, like, wow, yeah, I've lived through all of this. But I mean, everyone has a story, right? And how important it is to just like share that and to get that out and to be brave, right? Through that, and let the tears come and let myself feel through it all. So yeah, it was hard. And each time like revising, I felt like it was just getting more, feeling it more and more and getting deeper and deeper with it.
What's the most important thing you want people to know about the topic of grief?
That they'll be light again and just, let yourself feel all the feelings. Have a lot of support around you, because I think that's really important, because it's very easy to get kind of stuck in the dark spots, like the goop of it, and it can be very like pulling down, and it can sometimes feel like I'm all alone, and is there a way out at all? Like, it's hard to see that little glimmer of light, but when you have the support around you and just take it like one moment at a time and just tell yourself like, I can get through this, then it helps. But support is a big deal, and then breath work, and meditation. But yeah.
Awesome. There will be light again. Oh boy, there is a big echo. Hang on, you guys. Okay. There will be light again. That's important. That's a powerful one. It's good for y'all to like receive that for a minute. Sometimes we lose a little bit of that hope. Christina, thank you for being here today. And thanks for saying yes to this project and all the beautiful energy that you put into it. Leah, you're next. I'm going to get you to unmute again. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Well, it is definitely a different chapter and not something that I would typically, not a style in which before the story happened to me, a way that I would write and share. And the chapter is an offering. It's an offering to the mountains. It's an offering to the earth. It's an offering to all of the life forms that really keep us resonating and humming and alive and moving through grief and moving through trauma. Um, like I said, bravery through ambitious allies and deep listening. That's what I can handle because I am more than I. I have to be more than I. I have to listen deeply to everything that's carrying me. And I believe that we are just a big we, and that's how we make it through because I'm not brave, right? So the story and the chapter was written because if I'm going to share my story, I can't live in my story the way it was, but I can, if I'm going to use words, make them be something that evokes a trance state with us all together and carries us through these cycles that generate something new. And that's why I wrote the story. And so it's a strange story as far as like sharing how or what something, was. It's more about what I need it and want it to become for us all.
Is that kind of writing channeled through you? Do you use that language for that?
The language channel.
Did that channel through you? Is that how you talk about that?
I can use the word channel. That would be a more concise way of saying it, and I think that would be a good way to put it. Interestingly enough, for a solid year before writing this, I committed when I had just recently lost my hearing and was having neurological issues from long COVID and really did not speak or engage and couldn't even think in words. So the fact that words came through, I would say, is a channel. And I definitely feel like I got words back as a gift through running into a beautiful human thinking and author that I greatly admire. And in a hug through them, right afterwards, wrote this story. And I was like, that's great because I didn't even know how I was going to find words again because of the way my brain was.
That's fascinating to hear that piece of it. Sometimes I don't get to hear all those behind the scenes things that are happening with you all as you're going through the process of this, which can be strange and very therapeutic sometimes, and all the things. Leah, thank you for saying yes to this and for being your full-on badass, unapologetic self in that chapter.
Thank you.
Wendy, tell us about your amazing chapter.
Hi, I'm Wendy House, and my chapter is Epiphanies of a Motherless Mother, and was very cathartic to write about it. But it's basically the story of healing the mother wound that I think a lot of women carry. You don't necessarily have to be a mother to have a mother wound. You come from a mother, and typically those wounds are generational. And I went through a very unexpected death of my mother. She left us unexpectedly. Anyway, so that led me into my own deep journey of healing around that wound. And my mom came from a very traditional upbringing background. She was a child of the 50s and came from a Southern family, and just a really traditional role that she played. And my parents were married for years and years, and she ended up raising 8 children, 6 of her own, and my 2 nieces. And I just saw that journey that my mom went through. And it didn't hit me until I became a mother myself, the epiphany of she was mothering me the best way she knew how. And so it took me back to how was she mothered and how was my grandmother mothered. And it opened up this entire ancestral history and lineage of the women that go all the way back, and how it imprinted on each of them the way their mothers mothered them. And so they brought that forth. And it wasn't until I had my own children that I realized that my mom just was doing the best that she knew how by her mother, and then her mother from her mother, and so on. And it can be lots of cycles that come through that ancestral journey through motherhood, and it can affect you as a mother, and it definitely did. But what I realized also through that was I'm going to do it better for my child, my children, especially my daughter, so that she has something different to pull from, and we can heal that wound and continue to heal that wound for generations, so that hopefully each time we birth, we create a healing cocoon for more of that mother wound to be healed through the different cycles. And it was very cathartic to move through that. Just like Christina said, you're reliving that wound and you're reliving that pain as you move through the writing of your story. But it's a story that needs to be heard, because it can help others, and it can affect, even if it's just one person that you're helping through your story. That's enough.
Amen to that for sure. I think there's such a golden nugget of awareness in what you said earlier, that the realization, I think it comes for a lot of us later in adult life, where we're like, all right, they were doing the best they could with what they had at the time. And I know that was a healing moment for me. I also loved that, you're then moving forward with your own children, if you have them, with awareness. And awareness is everything, and you, all three of you, are doing that in the book. And big thank you to all 3 of you for taking on the challenge of getting that story in black and white. And then, you guys, this book, our authors are stepping up as the master healers and teachers they are, and you're going to have a gift of a practical experience, practice, exercise with us in this book as well. So I'm just so honored to have y'all here, and your beautiful stories and teachings. Leah, I'm going to start with you on this next one. So many in this community talk about finding the opportunity or purpose in their pain. How has that idea helped you, or not?
Finding the opportunity.
Yeah, inside of the pain.
Well, I will say that if I genuinely reflect on the time of going through trauma and deep extended trauma, that was a concept that was harsh somatically. Physically could not take that concept. And that was one of the biggest things that shut me down further, is when sharing that I was going through something difficult, and people reflecting that back to me to try to find an opportunity in it. And I'm like, I'm dying, I'm disintegrating. And so I think that the opportunity and that bright light absolutely is there, but we also live in a culture that does not practice the full cycles of cocooning and dying, letting that be, and then following all the way through, and then having that opportunity. And we just hop around from like, oh, this is awful, this is pain, let's find the opportunity. And to me, there's like that cycle that goes through it. And because it's not practiced so much, or because I wasn't versed in fully practicing those cycles, it yanked me out of a place where I think really innately, with the earth and as a human and as an animal, that my being was like, no, I actually need to cycle all the way through this. Please don't tell me that there's an opportunity here. I actually really need to fully morph through this. And so I do believe that the opportunity comes, but I experienced probably more trauma by trying to take myself out of pain into an opportunity too soon. And I think it's really valuable that I didn't jump for that opportunity and really did hold my ground, because that's where that deep listening came in for me, instead of just trying to find something new. It was like, who else wants to come in? What other pulses and sounds of the universe are here for me to recognize, without just jumping out of this place?
Thank you for that. I'm happy that you kicked off that question as you did. Wendy, what would your add be to this? Like when that idea of finding the opportunity inside of the pain, has it helped you? Not? Tell us your
Oh,
version.
it's helped me tremendously. And I agree with Leah that you need to move through those cycles. And the more you can step into that, into the grief, into what you're moving through, I feel the deeper healing lies in those so-called cycles. And it just opened up a whole different world for me as a woman, being able to move through my mother's death and what that brought forward. Because, so unfortunately in society, we look at death as this thing that and grief as this thing that you don't talk about it, and you don't, oh, don't say anything because you might upset them. They just went through this huge loss, don't talk about it. And everybody moves through grief differently. And for me, it helped me to actually write through it and move through it. And I wrote a lot about my mom. I didn't necessarily share it with others, but it was helpful for me to write about that process. And just knowing that, people are receptive to what you have to share is healing on its own. And just moving through that cycle of the death, in what I found as a rebirth as in my own motherhood. So I had lost through the death of my mother, but then it birthed something totally new and beautiful within myself and my own motherhood. And hopefully that will continue, that kind of death and rebirth cycle through motherhood for my child, should she decide to be a mother, and so on and so on. There is healing in that journey if you just can stay in it long enough to find the gifts within it.
I love listening to y'all talk about these topics. They're big, juicy ones, aren't they, you guys? Christina, it's always hard to go last on questions like this, but I know you're going to have your beautiful version. So, just that idea of the opportunity inside the pain, has it helped you not talk about that? And unmute, girl, unmute.
Yeah, I feel like up until that point, I was like I like through my marriage and through motherhood and all of that, I felt like I did everything by the book, right? Like I was a virgin till I got married. And like, not that that's, you know, I did like everything I was like told to do, like the perfectionist kind of thing. And I had like losses before, but you just kind of, you know, it just is life. But I felt like with my marriage, like I did everything, you know, like I was supposed to do. And I mean, I was a lesbian, but I married the guy because that's what I was supposed to do to, you know, and it all like fell apart. And so I think with that pain of like, I did my best and I know that I put forth everything, every inkling of me, and it was shattered. It helped me kind of like recreate like the phoenix, you know, like, okay, then who am I then? If I tried to be everything I was supposed to be and it all fell apart, then what do I have left? Only just to find inside of myself who I am and let that shine. Cause that's all that I can do, really.
That's a big deal thing. So, I mean, these are not small potatoes things we're talking about today. Yeah, and you all have devoted so much of your lives to this journey, and um, I feel like you know, I want to remind you of what amazing people you are to sign up for that, to say, "Yep, I'm going to trailblaze that. I'm going to dive in deep so that I can help people." That's a big deal. That is a big deal to me. And Christina's the way she's talking about it is making me think about that. So um, I want to talk a little bit about community today. It's been the difference between success and failure, I feel like, in my own life. The beautiful community around me holding me up some days. Wendy, what has community meant for you on your journey?
Well, it's been huge. It's been huge for me, especially coming from a mother wound, a deep mother wound. I tended not to trust a lot of other women because I based those relationships on my mother and myself's relationship. And so there was a lot of healing within that too. So community has been huge. Feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling accepted, especially by other women, women who have these amazing stories and amazing medicine to share. Um, it to me, it has just been, it has been in its own a healing balm. That just I feel like just continues to carry me forward in my own work as a healer, as a mother, as just a sister in general to other women. So it's been life changing for me personally, to be able to step into community the way, and then expanding on it through this book has just made it to me just huge. And I'm incredibly grateful because I wouldn't be anywhere on my journey without all of that community and that support. So it's huge.
Thank you for that. Yeah, you know, Dacia's B sister community, this book community alone is a powerhouse. I love it. Christina, how about you? What has community meant to you on your journey?
It's like meant everything, honestly, because otherwise I would just feel so alone, you know? I think I love what Wendy said. Like it's really like Dacia's B group, and then also like a sisterhood. And I feel like I've learned, like I had gotten to a point in my life a few years back where I realized like I need to always build friendships and always keep that alive, like watering a plant. Like, don't ever give up. Always get out there. If there's an event, I just try to go to all the events that I can, you know, ecstatic dance, Gaia Sisterhood, Kirtan, everything, and keep that flourishing because I've learned from experience, like, that's what keeps, like, we're all one, like, we're all connected, like the hive, right? All the little bees. And I feel that more and more. And the more I lean into that, the more alive I feel and the more alive, like I can help other people. And so just all, it's everything.
I appreciate you sharing that piece about some days I would imagine you kind of had to kick your own butt out the door. And some days are easier, but I appreciate that piece of, I just kept getting back out there and getting in front of people and being with other people. I think that there's probably a lot of people that need to hear that message right now. So thank you for that one. Leah, what's your version of this? What has community meant for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, community means so many different things to me, actually, or there are so many bigger parts of community that I was really unaware of before COVID. COVID definitely was a big slap in the face for that one. What's really there, and what have I had and been relying on as community? And when it goes away, how do we rebuild community? And we have so many options in this day and age. Like, we have this digital correspondence, and we're sitting in community right now, which is super beautiful. And I have the most amazing friends in the world. And I realized, how community grows deeper and deeper, with really recognizing what we are afraid of in community, being afraid of being dropped. Like, if we really are going to surrender to being held by a group of people. And so the bees, and this project has been really beautiful for me, because it's a space where it's like, no, we're not going to drop each other. And we have the bees as allies, and we have other greater forms of community. And just the way of being held, and then being able to step out and be on my own, and then come back in, just kind of bouncing back and forth between being in group and having that togetherness, and then going and processing on my own, and then or with and the community of nature, and how I bounce back and forth between the community of nature and people, and bringing these different groups together with how we resonantly share together, and the awareness of that and somatic act of those things. It changes our bodies and how we move in the world, and how we grow together.
Thank you for that. Thanks for adding the pieces of all the different ways we can be in community, even nature. Isn't that awesome to think about that? Oh my goodness. Leah, Benjamin, Wendy House, Christina, Beebe, thank you so much to all of you for what you do in the world. And thank you for being here today to share it with everyone. Thanks,
Thank you so
ladies.
much, Laura.
Thank you.
So if you guys couldn't tell already, this is way more than a book. This is a very generous community. So if you heard something today that's given you the goosebumps, or maybe you have a question about, or you want to continue the conversation, you can drop down into the show notes and click on the links. I have all of our authors hooked up down there. Explore all of the amazing things that they are up to in the world. And you are also invited to our book launch party. It's coming up on May 23rd. We're going to be gathering with all of the Dreaming with Bees authors. We're going to be doing some fun party stuff and giveaways that day. So you're going to find info down below about that. And if you're listening to the interview today after that date, just hop over to Amazon, because it means our book is ready and live and you can grab your copy. And lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.